So in this video I'm going to talk about how to select or choose a tarot deck. And there's really no right way or wrong way to go about it. You basically are looking for a deck that appeals to you in some way, and you just feel like a connection that you can work with it. And this can take time to really know for sure. You have to start somewhere. That's why usually people will say get a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, or myself included. I'll recommend this to students, or a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck, a deck that's based off that, which is most of them in some way, but that's easy to see and simple to start with. And then you can gradually make better decisions for yourself as you develop your tarot reading skills about what works and what doesn't, and why you might like some of the decks I have. I'm a bit of a collector, and I don't use them for reading, but I enjoy having them in my collection just for the artwork alone, and I just like looking at them. Or maybe there are a couple of cards in it that just give me a different perspective on that card, so I enjoy it for that. But as far as the decks I use specifically for reading for clients or for my own purposes, and that's another thing, but those are limited to maybe 4 or 5 decks that I always use so far anyway. Things change, and I have a story about that coming up. But back to this isn't necessary for everybody, but for myself, I like to have a deck or two, some decks that I read only for myself, that I use only for my own readings, and the ones I use for clients I keep separate. Now, you don't have to do this if you have clients or not, I don't know, but even if it's friends and family, there's no rule there either. That's just my own personal preference. I don't know why I have it, I just do. But here's the story I wanted to share. For example, I got this deck, Tarot Illuminati. Okay, and I'll do a bit of a flip through coming up later in the video as well, so you can see it if you don't already know about this deck. Anyway, it's a nice deck. I got it last year as a gift, and at first I thought, okay, cool, let me check this deck out, and I just didn't connect with it at all. My aesthetic sense didn't connect with it because the colors are bright, it's very busy, the design's pretty busy, and it's beautiful though, but it was busy and bright and very digital. I don't know, I just couldn't connect with it. I didn't think I could connect with it, so I actually ended up selling it. And then about a month and a half or 2 months ago, this is like a year later, when I sold it was maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and then I guess 3 or 4 months passed, and suddenly, I hadn't thought about it at all, but suddenly it came to my mind very strongly one evening, and I was like, wow, I really regret selling that deck for some reason. I really think there was something there for me. I don't know why. It just was an intuitive or strong calling to get the deck again. So I ended up purchasing it again, and now I'm working with it. I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's still, I don't know, aesthetically it's not my favorite because of the busyness and the brightness, but for some reason I really enjoy doing readings with it. So just, a tarot geek, tarot nerd kind of thing, I ended up saying, well, you know what, I've never done this before, so I grabbed the bag that goes with it, the bag, and I got the book that goes with it too as well. So I have the whole sort of collection, just for the sense of having the collection. And the book's interesting too, because books are always useful in terms of, like I always teach everybody, you need to develop your own meanings built up over time by journaling and your own experiences with the cards, interfacing with your own life experiences to start to get real meanings and experience with the cards. But the books are also useful because every author has maybe a slightly different perspective on something that sometimes you're just like, nah, a lot of times, like with this book, for example, certain cards I'm like, well, that doesn't quite connect with my experience of the card. But there is a general accepted meaning of the card as well. But sometimes there's something like, oh, I never thought of it that way, you know, and it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, that's an interesting way to look at it, and it's just another layer of meaning on the cards. So it's kind of nice to have books as references like that for you can never stop learning tarot. You will never completely master it because it's symbolic of life, and life is always right now, and it's capturing what sort of, you could say, the Tao, the flow is at this moment of energy, and it's relating to you, of course, because you're the individual experiencing everything. And that's the only way life is actualized, is through you, even if somehow, like, you know, the universe and everything's, it's a very abstract concept, right? It's not actualized unless it's through the individual. Even if you were somehow able to stand outside of the universe somehow and look at the whole universe, you know, it would still be through the lens of your individual perspective. So that's the actualization of it. And tarot, I Ching, runes, or whatever divination systems, they actualize this totality, you know, in the moment of your experience. And then, you know, your human mind can put the patterns together and, you know, find new associations and things like that. But there's this other dimension, this vertical dimension. You know, there's a horizontal dimension of cause and effect, but then there's this vertical dimension that's intuition that can't be, it comes from beyond the mind. It can't really be explained. So anyway, I'm going to do a flip through of the Illuminati deck and show you a few of the cards, and so you can see it for yourself. And I just want to mention also that I have some free resources for you in the description box below. Some keywords that you can check out, and also my free guide, 5 Steps to Learn Tarot. This isn't a review of the Illuminati deck. By the way, it's by Eric C. Dunn. But here's the back. Beautiful. I really like the back. The cards are quite thin, easy to shuffle, very easy to shuffle actually. Still sturdy. So here's some of the majors. I just grabbed some cards actually so you can see how it's quite, the design's quite busy, but it is beautiful, the colors and everything. Like I said, I can just, back to how to choose a tarot deck. You never know, sometimes a tarot deck chooses you. Like this deck seemed to, I do have a handful of decks that I love to work with as well, but this is now in that handful. The World, I'll just do that. I don't know if that's one of those ones that will flag me. A little bit of this tasteful nudity, but just in case. High Priestess, the Death card. Nice colors in there. One of my favorite cards is in here, I think. Let me see. Judgment. There's the Prince of Swords. So that's another thing that's different about this deck. I'm still learning the way it's structured exactly, but the different suits have sort of different cultural backgrounds themed in them. Like here you see the Pentacles is obviously from Asia, somewhere like China or Japan. The Hermit, of course. So you can see it's very Rider-Waite-Smith. You can tell what the cards are without even trying, but they're very unique and of themselves. I really like this Alchemist. It's busy, but when you look into it, it's pretty cool. It's pretty inspiring for what the meaning of this card is. I'm just going to look for, did I get it in here? Yeah, there it is. I really love this Hangman, although I prefer these days, from using Ciro Marchetti's decks quite a bit, to call him, this archetype, this card, the Hanging Man. I don't know, it just rings better to me now. Maybe I just got used to it from using some of his decks. The Gilded Tarot is one of my main decks I use for clients, and Gilded Tarot Royale I've used quite a bit for myself over the years, so maybe I just got used to it. But I do like saying the Hanging Man. But I do love this card. It's just something about it, the way it's done. Anyway, I think you get the idea. But back to the main point of the whole thing is there are really no rules, and you'll just follow along as you keep doing your tarot practice, and different decks will come to you, and you might not even like it at first, but then you'll realize, wow, I really love this deck. Whereas sometimes you'll love a deck right off straight away, and then you won't like it after you realize, well, you'll like it, you'll love it still. Like, I have some of those in my collection still because I love the artwork and the way they're put together, but I don't really connect with them for reading. So sometimes those are two very different things. That's my point. And you want to find the ones that connect with you for reading, and they may not be the ones that you think at first. So that's me weighing in on how to choose a tarot deck. Just enjoy your practice. See you again in another video.